If you're not eating healthy, you don't got nobody to blame but yourself, because it's all out there. You know the kind of garbage they're putting into our processed foods
For the
now.
people listening on the audio version, he looked at me when he said that.
No, that is so not right. and we are back with another episode of the Julius Files. I am your host, Jason Julius. And man,
We are off the rails.
yes, we are.
Shit show.
Yeah, so obviously this is an episode of Off the Rails, and we were off the rails before we ever hit record.
That's the truth.
Especially with the bougie blonde. Oh my Lord!
Oh, stop! Why
Full
do
stop.
I have to get?
Period. No commas. Just
Oh my
full
goodness!
You
stop.
started your notes at the bottom of the paper, and now you have to put other
I know,
notes on
she
the
has
other
a-
side of the
Rewriting
paper.
my notes.
a whole pad of paper,
Well, I didn't
and
expect
she
you to
goes
talk
down
that
to
much.
one line from the bottom and goes, I can't get the paragraph on there.
Well, I really thought you were going to say a couple words, but
Oh
you
my
went
God.
on and on, and
You-
so I.
Jason
It was-
never said a couple of words.
I know.
No,
It's
exactly.
my bad.
Did you-
I know.
this was about a
Nobody's
headline.
even heard the podcast
How many
yet, and they already know
headlines?
he has more than a couple of words.
I know.
How many headlines are just a couple of words? I mean,
Compared to that, mine is a couple of words.
oh my Lord. Okay,
Yeah,
how are we
don't
doing?
start with me.
We are
Still writing.
Dawn the Bougie Blonde is having a bad day.
I'm good. I'm really
She's
good.
writing a report. We'll be with her momentarily.
Oh my goodness.
If it was this much of a struggle to get it down, let's see if she can say it.
No, not yet. Pass me.
Oh, past you?
I'm not
Okay.
going first.
Okay, so as we have,
Still right.
so Off the Rails is a chance to just go down any rabbit hole that we might decide that we want to go down, where myself and my co-hosts, my team, bring a headline from wherever they might want to bring a headline that it just happens to be out there in the media world, and then we do a little bit of a discussion on it. So we're gonna pass the bougie blonde, and we're gonna jump straight to the Master Blaster, Matt Bradshaw. Mr. Bradshaw, what is your headline you are bringing today?
The headline I'm bringing today is the Senate confirmed Ketanji Brown Jackson to be the first black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. Historic moment for us.
Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, because I'm going to be the first to say, let's have this conversation right here and now, because I don't even know her politics and I do not care. I would say at this point, you know what? I mean, Clarence Thomas is already on there. So the significance is that it is a black woman. Yeah,
yes.
It's not yet another level of diversity to the courts. That's cool. Let me ask you another couple questions though, because this is a bigger problem. Hell, I should have chose that headline. How old is she? Because the problem is we got too many crotchety old people running this country that are so far removed from what this world is today. And so I'm just hoping you're going to tell me that she's closer to 50 than 70. Please.
I definitely think she's closer to 50 than she is 70.
Okay. That's,
She is 51 years old.
okay. Good deal.
my
Okay.
goodness, really?
So, I mean, again, because at 50 years old, you're sitting here where you at least truly do have your finger on the pulse. And I should say towards that end, I still believe that our Constitution is not a living document. I do not think that it should be quote unquote interpreted and injected political BS into whatever you might think you want to read into it. I mean, it was written as a timeless document, at least in my opinion, even though, admittedly, I'm sure that when they wrote this, they had not even begun to consider robots taking over humanity and ruling the world. So, I mean, the times do change, but I still do not look at our Constitution as a living document. People are supposed to be constitutionalist and read it and apply the words that are there, which I'm sure if she was nominated by Biden, she would probably be more apt to not share my sentiment. But again, I mean, younger, I'm a big proponent for, out of any one of the branches that we bring in younger people, because there's too many old crotchety people that they got too much power, too much money, too much, I don't know, is it self-loathing? I mean, there's too many old people running this country, and that's half the problem, because that you shouldn't be running this country in your 80s. That's take your retirement, take your go live your golden years, and quit trying to tell us how to live our lives. That's kind of my general opinion. But so, how do you feel about this headline you chose?
I mean, I think it's a pretty good headline, but I feel like what you said right there, that's not a living document. If you went straight off of what they wrote, we would be in a whole different country.
Yeah, but if we went totally towards a living document, they would have written us out of our Second Amendment the way they're trying to write us out of our First Amendment.
Not exactly, but
in a roundabout way, you see what I'm actually getting at.
Yes, but in the regular Constitution, as originally written, African Americans weren't even people, so that's kind of a problem.
No, okay, I'll give you that. I'm not going to. I don't think you're really exaggerating on that, but I'm like, I understand that. I mean, when the original document was written, that slavery was very much a mainstay thing, and that was obviously my whole. When it comes to that, my whole thing is that, like, people want to chastise Americans and even the morons inside of America, and I'm like, it was going on then because that was what was going on then. And
in the world.
Yes. And that type of slavery is still very much going on in several other parts of the world. And America has very much moved past that and realized the error of their ways. But everybody wants to beat up on America as if we're so bad, while looking at the rest of the world that is still doing that. They still believe in child slavery. They still,
they just expect us to be even further along.
We are further along, though. That's the whole point, is that,
just want to see even more further along.
Well, but then you get into that stuff where they talk about, restitution's that's not the word I'm looking for. I think you know the word that I'm looking for.
You got to give me some more than that.
Where they're seeking, they want paid.
Restitution?
Is it? It's not restitution. It's not the word.
Reciprocity?
Right. Nah. Because it came up in the previous elections where they were arguing, because slavery occurred, that we should be dipping into our tax dollars and just paying people that were never slaves.
Restitution?
Is it? I'm not sure. That's
one moment.
I just no. The thing, and this is what I'm getting at, because that's all wrong. It's bad. I'm not saying that. I don't believe that any of us today, as nation or people, are like, we're supposed to dip into our pockets in any way, shape, or form to pay somebody for what ancestors of the past did. That type of thing. I don't think that level of responsibility somehow carries through generations when people didn't have anything to
do with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's where I
agree. Reparations.
There we go. I knew it was one of those.
It started with an R.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in there, guys.
Because at the end of the day, there's still more opportunity here for any and everybody than there is in the rest of the world. It's a by and large statement.
Which is what the headline is. It's another step.
You're right.
Last step after that.
So no, by all means, I congratulate her. And hopefully she does good things for the nation. And obviously at 50 years old, she's going to be around for a good hot minute. And that's a great deal. So that's a solid headline, Mr. Bradshaw. Do we have anything that either of the ladies would like to weigh in on this before we move?
I'm just glad to see that there's a woman there. She's black. She's a woman. She's going to be the new voice. I feel like that's very
well. And correct me if I'm wrong, she's the replacement for Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
No, that was Amy Cohen Barrett, the crazy.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this is normally I don't think that in years past I would have misspoke like that, but I've happily turned off news in general. Because I just got sick of all the propaganda and the 98% that wasn't actual factual news. So sorry for the brain fart.
Stephen Breyer is retiring.
So she's the replacement, but he hasn't retired yet, or
correct?
Okay,
he leaves, I think in end of September, maybe.
So he announced, and then they already have a candidate ready to go, and they're acclimating her. And okay, good deal. That's solid. Okay, well.
Look at me.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on. The demi-galactic goddess of research. What have you researched? I mean, the last one you brought was pretty solid. So, I mean, I look forward to what do you got
You got
for
a
us?
new title now, right?
The galactic demi-goddess of research.
Okay, I keep messing this up, but I'll get it.
I'm also the executive assistant.
That's where I was going.
General manager, Vickers. And then what was my other title?
No, controller was
Controller.
the controller.
That's
Yeah,
good.
no, that's
Dang, I
She
kinda like
she
the
no longer
control.
has a business card. She has a business postcard.
So I went stumbling through today and I found something that kind of caught my eye. I figured definitely be a conversation piece for this table. The judge issues the first outright acquittal of a defendant charged over the January 6th riot. So basically, this guy traveled all the way from New Mexico, entered the Capitol, really didn't do too much, just got in trouble for a misdemeanor. And now the judge is like, you're fine.
yeah. Well, the whole thing was a setup.
Right.
It was a scam. I mean,
Well,
So-
it wasn't a scam
but it was a scam. It was a total fraudulent setup.
Well,
but
now there's another.
by President Trump. Yes.
no,
No.
not at all.
Oh, no.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
I mean-
President Trump did exactly what we're supposed to do. That was supposed to be
To get your
protesting
people there to-
protesting peacefully. And
Peacefully?
huh?
Yes.
That was peaceful?
And
Yeah,
that's-
no. Oh, no. They had the setup people encouraging them, hey, come on in so that we can now accuse you of being.
The setup people.
No,
That was.
it was a setup, and you know it was a setup.
That
I
was
mean,
serious.
but-
There was no insight of a riot.
incite of a riot? No,
Yeah.
no. They just wanted people in the building so that they could
They were letting
claim
them
that they were in danger. Because I do remember an article about AOC claiming she was in danger, and then it coming out that she was 5 blocks down the road. She was never in danger, but they tried to paint this whole that they were in danger.
People were in danger.
Well, there was
Well, they were in danger once a woman got shot. I mean, that's what.
Well, why you stormed the Capitol?
Yeah, there's a 72-year-old
They all
man
should have
who
been
They
drove-
didn't
shot.
storm the
He drove
Capitol.
all the
They
way from
walked in.
Alabama with a truck full of Mazel Tov cocktails and like weapons, and he's like standing outside. And he's like, I just want to see how close I could get to even being in there.
This dude, no, this dude
No,
that
this
you're.
is another
Oh,
guy.
okay. I'm like,
So,
okay,
like-
now somebody's got Molotov
But here's
cocktails.
the
It's
thing,
like, come on, that's
He's like, well, I didn't really do anything. I just got that close, but now I got 4 years in prison.
no. He probably got 4 years in prison because he had Molotov
And that's what I'm like,
cocktails on him.
dude. I'm like, you drove from Alabama
Yeah.
to DC with a shit ton of weapons and explosives, and you don't feel like you should be in trouble for that?
Yeah, that's not really. I mean, I don't.
So the problem is now they feel like the trials that's happening, a lot of them are saying that's unfair. For instance, like this guy, he got acquitted. It was, a misdemeanor. This guy, 72-year-old man, he's now facing 4 years in prison because of his truck full of explosive
As he should be.
As you should.
No, I'm not going to disagree
And
with that
then
because I'm
there-
sitting there going, circumstances, every situation.
Yeah.
People are not in court and judges are put up against having to weigh all of the circumstances and what is the intent and where were you placing yourself and in what context were you placing yourself there. Somebody shows up and they've got a truckload of explosives. You have to assume the intent to do harm. I mean, that's this dude, obviously, there was no intent to do harm, so he got acquitted.
Said that
Okay.
he was out basically because everybody knows that the police were outnumbered by as many people came through there. So he was like, well, since nobody was actually guarding the doors, I was just merely trespassing. So that's why they were like, okay, that's fine. But then you have the 2 guys who came up who were police officers, and they went by the nickname Dad and Son. Did you hear about this?
No.
And they were like taking pictures in the Capitol. They came in with like gas masks, all this stuff came in there, apparently ready to do some damage. Well, then they're taking pictures and they're doing all this. Well, the next thing you know, they get caught. And the guy is like, oh, well, now I'm going to go ahead and just testify against you. So now it's this big thing. Like, we were friends, but now you're in court testifying against me. So it's just kind of interesting to see how all of this is really unfolding.
Yeah, because there's some kind of black hat shit going on the backside of that.
Well,
going,
people
hey, we'll
flip on
pay
people
you
all
off.
the time.
Yeah.
They were like, you want to go to jail? No. Well, all right. Well, then testify against.
No, this is
somebody.
exactly what we need you to say, so that we can make a story out of this.
They stormed the Capitol.
They did not storm the Capitol. That's ridiculous.
They beat police officers.
people died.
That's
They killed police officers.
that is.
They
Man, you are
shattered
that is
windows
Matt. And here you
and
are with your
doors.
exaggeration. That is untrue. You are not speaking truth. They killed
What?
no police officers.
What
That
do
is
you mean?
not
What do you
true.
mean?
That is factually not true.
Police officers
that is
who were
propaganda.
alive
That
the
is
day that they went to work
propaganda. Oh my
leave dead.
Lord! I
Yes.
cannot believe you would say that, dude. That is so not factually true. That
It is
not
factually
It
true.
is not factually true. That is like that's
be what
BS,
you're hearing
dude.
on the fake
That's what I
news,
said. That might be what you're listening
not.
to off CNN, but that is not factually true. That
That is
100%.
factually
No,
true.
it is not. No, it might be factually what's coming out of the garbage MSM, which is why I turned the TV off and quit listening. But that's not factually true. That's not.
Officer Brian Sicknick of the Capitol Police, who was attacked by the mob, died on January 7th. It says here he died from injuries sustained while physically engaging with protesters. The Washington Medical Examiner later ruled that he had died of natural causes, multiple strokes that occurred hours after Officer Sicknick's confrontation with the mob. The medical examiner added, however, that all that transpired played a role in his condition.
Yeah, whatever. That's about saying it's possible that you're a cop. You're already in high stress situations.
If you get dragged
so
out
don't
and beat by a crowd and then
that's
die,
not.
the crowd kills
That
you.
is just such a. That is such a crock.
What about this guy? There's another guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he died of a heart attack because he collapsed on the sidewalk west of the Capitol. So did he die of natural causes, or did he die because of this
People
riot?
die of heart attacks all the time. That does not.
So you think it just like happened?
Just pure coincidence.
Yeah.
Well, there's
It
no
was
coincidence
nice.
in life in general, but that's not my point. People drop dead of heart attacks all the time. I mean,
They do.
Yeah, that's so. I'm sitting there going, I just don't.
Just usually not.
If you
the
die
Capitol's
of
been
natural causes, you don't get to blame that shit on somebody
So go
else.
ahead to the comment section. Let us know if you think the January 6th insurrection was real or fake.
And it was fake.
And
It was 100%.
About 150 officers from the Capitol Police and Metropolitan Police Department and local agencies were injured. Hundreds of workers were traumatized by the mob.
I just traumatized by the mob.
Really?
I
They chose to be
like
there.
the dude with the thing with the
shaman?
Yeah, no, the shaman. I'm talking about the dude that had like the
horns?
the bowls. Yeah, thing. That, he just casually strolled in. Like if it hadn't been for the getup that he had on, the dude wasn't there to do no harm. He was there to clown. I mean, totally there to clown.
as he was breaking windows to get in, but you know,
And I do believe that there's a bigger story behind him as far as his personal background too.
Are you
As
talking
far
about
as
the dude with like the one that had like the
horns.
the
Yeah,
horns?
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he was
shaman.
the one that was in trouble or something happened too when he got locked up because he was a vegan or something too.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, he also had ties to other people that the left might have employed to paint a picture that was not true. Okay. Yeah. Moving on, we will endeavor to move on at this point.
Everybody's about to
Let's see if the
Everybody's
bougie
giving me
blonde
looks across the table.
can get this out of her mouth easier than what she actually got it on paper. That's what do you got, Dawn?
Okay, so Elon Musk says people might download their personalities onto a humanoid robot. Tesla is making, which
was
he
that a
said-
full stop or a comma?
No, I didn't comma yet. I was getting to my comma.
sorry.
Tesla is making, comma, which he says could be in moderate volume production next year. So, would you do it, Matt?
Absolutely, especially that's where it leads my question. Do I get paid if
That's
my robots do the work?
Matt's just like I need
I
my
always wanna
greatness to
clone myself.
live on for the rest of eternity.
I mean, I think the whole world deserves my greatness.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there
And
going, in
robots
one
will help
hand,
make that happen.
you got Elon Musk saying, I just hope the robots are nice to us. And the next, he's like, you know what? Let's embrace this. Why don't we just download our personalities into our cars and see what comes out of it?
Let's
I mean,
not.
I mean, didn't I end the last podcast about being his first morbidly obese guy to go into outer space? Or is that Bezos?
If you're listening to this
I
podcast,
will
either
extend
one
it
of
to
you.
you.
No. But we're not.
You need
I'm
me to
not.
go to space.
No, I'm not giving it up. I'm not.
will be
No,
the guy.
he is too important to this team to be taking a trip to outer space.
He can't stop me.
Okay. I mean,
It's me and you. I don't know if I want to go all the way to the moon, but
Well, if you
but
do,
into outer space.
I'll scrape space though. I will go to Mars.
that'd be pretty cool.
Is that what? I mean, you want to know what it's like to be weightless?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see the whole world from out there.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about coming back down, but
Wow.
So you would do it.
in a heartbeat.
You, Trish?
I would definitely have to do some research about that because, while I was looking for this crazy title, I found another one. They were talking about like human gene editing, to where, you know, some of these people, they go in and a lot of these babies are born with defects and things like that. So now they're talking about being able to go in and actually edit your genes so that way you could avoid these situations.
But there's something right there. Had we, as Americans, avoided the situation of letting them with our food, we might not have to be looking at avoiding the situations about how it f***ed us up.
Microplastics in your bloodstream.
That's what I'm saying right there. Is that what you're going? Yeah, because I'm like, that's the whole problem. We didn't have these kind of quote unquote defects 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago when our food was cleaner.
Yeah. Well, big corporations need their money.
And I'm not taking it away on big corporations. I just think that it's that machine. It's the cahoots of the machine, that it's not just big corporations. It's big corporations teaming up with big government that is not doing their jobs of representing the people that elected them, that they're supposed to be there to serve. Because had the politicians done their job, big corporations would not have been allowed to skew and taint our food supplies in this manner, which is what's causing this, which only then pushes you to the pharmaceutical industry so that they can administer a drug that causes side effects, so that they can give you another drug that causes more side effects, so that they can push you back to the hospitals to do everything they can to squeeze the last ounce of life out of you, to make sure that they bleed you dry and everything that you might have before you actually die. I mean, it's a vicious cycle, and I don't believe it's a conspiracy. I think that there is just too many factual things out there to say that what came out of my mouth is very factually correct about the way this country's went over the last 30 years. It's wrong.
I totally agree with that. And I also know that a lot of our food that we have here in America is banned in other countries because of how bad it is.
Well, and that's the thing, is because like Rebecca, I mean, she battles with migraines and with fatigue, and I'm like, you got to take supplements. And she's like, well, why can't I just get it out of food? And I said, Rebecca, that's just not possible in this day and age. You cannot get the nutrients that your body needs out of food that is coming out of the production of today's world. Because honestly, even back when it was nutrient rich, your body still needed more than what normal everyday food can deliver. But now the food that's being delivered is so tainted. And then if you want to go get beef that's just grass-fed, no antibiotic beef, you're paying an arm and a leg to get it, just not necessarily to get healthy things into your body, just to make sure that you're not eating poison.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like how many... Yeah, we could turn that into a whole hour's podcast itself. But again, it's personal responsibility, because as I say, the whole point of me starting this podcast, other than I got a lot to say. Is that I wanted to put information out there, not necessarily in this realm, putting small business information out there that I wish had been readily available to me when I started my entrepreneurial journey. Because I'm not offering up excuses. I started my journey and it is what it is. And the reality is a lot of this information was, if you went out searching for it, was available in books. So there's even then no excuse. But today, there is no excuse. There's no excuse for nothing. All of the information is out there. It's readily at your fingertips. If you're not eating healthy, you don't got nobody to blame but yourself, because it's all out there. You know the kind of garbage they're putting into our processed foods
For the
now.
people listening on the audio version, he looked at me when he said that.
No, that is so not right. There is no excuse for any type of unhealthy eating and saying, I didn't know, not in today's day and age. It's not the information is out there. There is no room for victimhood on virtually any level other than being a legitimate victim. And it's just that there's too many people take that victim mentality, and then what it ends up doing is lessening the empathy that should be given to the people that do actually find themselves in traumatic situations where they are legitimate victims. But the point is, there's so much information out there, and it's so readily available. Like there's no excuses now. You cannot say, well, I didn't know. If you didn't know, it's out of your own stupidity or your own laziness, because the information is out there.
For the majority of people.
By and large, for the mass majority of people, and for 99.9% of all Americans. 99.9% of all Americans. Huh?
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I don't understand why you would not go that far.
I mean, have access to the internet.
Nah, that's bullshit. Not in America. In America,
that's true in America.
No, in America, 99.9% got access to the internet. They got free Obama phones, and everything can be damn near gotten for free.
Yeah,
Huh?
Those aren't smartphones.
They were just made calls.
You sure?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know for a fact they're flip phones.
Okay.
There are a lot of places out in the middle of nowhere.
Did you say a lot of places? No, not a lot of places. No, I mean, a few places, not a lot. We can go with the by and large statement. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of people, sadly, that don't have internet.
There's 365 million people in America. How many of them don't have internet?
So it says here, with 312 million users as of 2019, 90% of adults in America use the internet, either irregularly or frequently.
Okay.
So,
that's 90% of adults. And what about kids?
No, that would have to include kids.
No, she said adult. It said 90% of adults.
It says here in 2019, it was found that Utah had the highest second online penetration rate at 88.1% of the state's population used the internet.
Which still means 12% didn't.
Okay, so we'll stick with the by and large, because on my 99% or 99.9% doesn't apply. It would be.
People still use dial-up?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like, there's places that don't have high speed.
Wow. And here we are with the brain frying 5G. We're spreading through Indiana.
Colorado is the one who uses the most internet.
Of course they would.
Wow. Why do you say that?
Because Colorado's ahead of everything. First state to legalize weed.
That's honestly, that was where I was going right there. But on the other side of it, I mean, I ought to have the headline ready to queue up. What's the headline on that one, Trish? What? Because Nadler brought it up, and this is the second time that it actually got brought up. Nadler introduced a bill, and then you got the people on the right being retarded haters. Sorry for the use of retarded, but I mean, I feel like that's ridiculousness. One guy going, I can't support this bill because it's not done the right way. It'll give the Fed control over what the states do. And I'm like, yeah, dipshit, just like tobacco, just like alcohol, that's a level of ridiculousness where I'm like, no, marijuana should not be a Schedule I drug.
So the House passes the bill decriminalizing marijuana. Senate fortunes unclear. This is of April 1st. The House on Friday passed legislation that would remove marijuana from the federal schedule of controlled substances, a move that comes as an increasing number of states have passed decriminalization laws. It says here that the measure H.R. 3617 is known as the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, or the MORE Act. It says they passed similar legislation in December 2020, but it was not brought up for a vote in the Senate. Friday's 220 to 204 vote largely took place along partisan lines, with only 3 Republicans joining most Democrats to the back of the legislation. 2 Democrats voted no.
Those Democrats are liars. They're trash. If they do not pass this, if this does not go to Biden's desk, Democrats are liars, caught dead to rights. They promised now twice when they had the power in all 3 that they would do something about this issue. If this does not go to the Senate and get passed, if this is not signed into law by Biden, they're liars. They're cheaters. They're thieves. They lied to you to get your vote. They stole your vote. If this does not pass, the Democrats are flat saying we are liars, cheaters, and thieves and should not be trusted.
So 3 Republicans voted yes, and your response is the Democrats are liars.
Because the whole thing was the Democrats were supposed to be the ones that were going to do something about this issue. The Republicans being the conservatives, accept what they are, but I do know that there are Republicans that will support it. And all I can say is you say 3 Republicans. The other Republicans, they're on the wrong side of history. Straight up.
So just so you know, these 3 Republicans voted yes. That was Matt in Florida, Brian in Florida, and Tom in California. The 2 Democrats voting no were Henry and Chris, one from Texas, one from New Hampshire. It goes through
Henry
here.
and Chris ain't real bright.
Neither were the 204 that voted no.
No, they're just on the wrong side of history, and their arguments for why they voted no, they don't hold water. You are sent there for the will of the people, and you cannot put marijuana beside the rest of the other drugs that are out there. You cannot compare marijuana to heroin, cocaine, LSD, any of that stuff.
I think most people agree with that, but I think what a lot of people listening are going to be thinking, like I am, as to what, how are you going to blame the Democrats if it doesn't get through the Senate?
Because they have a majority. They got a 60.
What? We don't get them.
I'm sorry. You're right. It's a 50, 51?
It's 50-50.
Okay.
And realistically, it's 48-52.
Oh, no. You say realistically it's 50-50, and I'm like,
Steve
well, in a
Manchin
tiebreaker, Kamala Harris, the one that specialized in putting marijuana addicts in jail, now said to become a vice president that she fully supports marijuana, put her money where her mouth is.
Right. Well, that takes Steve Manchin to vote with the Democrats, which he won't. So
that's just, this is just.
For you Republicans out there, reach out to your local representatives and tell them to vote yes.
Well, and that's what it just kills me on this. I'm really on this issue because Indiana is like that. Look, every state around us, it's legal. Mm-hmm. So economically, there are many people in Indiana that smoke pot. So they are going to these other states and giving their tax dollars to these other states because you're not going to stop them from smoking pot.
Right, but you know what our surrounding states don't have? Lilies.
You know what? I don't care about that. I don't care about that because it's not right. Because it's not. Lily is not. Their vote does not count for 1 million. Their vote counts as one.
Right. Well, 2 people are voting, both senators who are Republican, who take millions of dollars from Lily. Mm-hmm. So when they're like, how do I vote? And Lily's going to be like, vote no. They're going to be like, oh, how much? Oh, 5 million? No.
As of right now,
and that is just.
Cannabis industry has now generated over $10 billion in new tax revenue.
Yep. And that's what, and my whole thing is on that end of it, bring it out from under the shadows because you're not going to stop it. Because it's not as bad as what the government tried to paint it. It's not a gateway drug. If it was a gateway drug, then you call alcohol a gateway drug.
It was all about locking up poor people and black people.
Yeah. Oh, you mean that the Joe Biden 1994 crime bill? Okay,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Just
it was going on way
before that. No. I get it. It was just him that doubled down on.
That was more of the crack cocaine.
And again, he has the ability to somewhat redeem himself on this issue by making sure that this bill is a step in the right direction.
Actual Republican to vote yes.
Right now, in the state of Indiana, if we were to go ahead and legalize this with a potential marijuana tax revenue, it would be $157,009,061.
And you know what? They've already made that money promise somewhere. They wouldn't have a problem spending it. That's for sure. And I hate to go because I'm probably gonna offend some conservative Republicans. Sorry, I'm just being honest. We have a plant in Kokomo that has been sitting here idle for over a decade. What is this plant? They're clean rooms. Delco idled them over a decade ago. So you could literally turn that into a marijuana manufacturing facility that would create thousands of jobs, huge amounts of tax revenue, and I'm just calling it like I see it because this nation, the tipping point is there.
Go for that.
What's that?
I think you need to.
I'm not. Don't get me because again, I don't see it as the devil. I think that it is by and large less dangerous than alcohol. I think far worse things come from alcohol than I've ever seen come from marijuana. I go to the Cat Williams, hungry, happy, sleepy. It's like I don't see many people smoking up and being like, let's rob a bank. Right.
Cat Williams, I don't know if is the best role model to use in this scenario.
I was referring back to his joke that I found very comical. He
got super high once and was riding a motorized wheelchair in a Walmart and ran some people over.
Oh, really? So that might not be the okay. I missed that headline too. Apparently,
it's count.
Okay, we're getting deep on this.
Way to the chips.
No, so we're going to bring up one that is again, it's near and dear to my heart, just for different reasons, because I'm passionate about it. But it's because in the midst of the failure that people buy into bullshit. And when they buy into the bullshit, they just don't realize how much pain is involved. And then, of course, you look at a business owner and, oh, you own a business, you must be a millionaire. And that shit is so not true. This 40-year-old CEO wants to de-glorify startups. I don't know if I wish entrepreneurship on anyone. It's my worst enemy. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole article itself. It's just that it drives home a point to me that people over-glorify and they over-glamorize entrepreneurship. Like, the reason not everybody does it is because it is a lot harder than it looks. And by the statistics, they're like 90% never break six figures, 1% survive and actually make it past 10 years in business. And these are the people that don't clock in to earn a living. They work themselves twice as hard for half the money just to build something from nothing. There's nothing glamorous about entrepreneurship. There is glamorous about what big things can be created. Like, I'm not going to take away that. I mean, look at the internet itself. That's like what the internet does for us as a technology and for information dissemination. That's a beautiful thing. It's cool. But everybody seems to forget the dot-com bust, the bubble that burst, the thousands upon thousands of failures, and the wreck and carnage on our economy, and the individuals that put it out there on the line, and the families that were affected, and nobody talks about that stuff. And I'm just sitting here going, you know what? Risk reward, entrepreneurship is, for me, I don't necessarily look at it as taking on more risk than the average person. I just manage and assess risk different than the average person. It doesn't weigh on me the way it does an average person in general. But entrepreneurship is taking on an amount of risk an average person would not be willing to take on for the reward on the other side of it. So obviously, that's why I said profit. That can't be a bad word. You make profit a bad word, you will stop people from literally trying to succeed. Because if there's not profit on the other side of it as the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, it ain't worth doing. The responsibility and the risks that you do take on, the load that you bear and you walk around with every day, if you're not walking towards a potential pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, it is not even worth considering. But the point is, the vast majority of people could never actually be entrepreneurs. Of the 10 that try, 7 never should have tried because they were doing it for the wrong reasons, because of the amount of pressure that you have to withstand, the amount of responsibility that you have to be willing to take on for long durations of time, and the unrealistic expectations that I'm going to throw my name in the hat and a year from now I'm going to be a millionaire. And I'm like, and it's the people glorifying and glamorizing, and they make people believe that shit, and it's not true. It's just...
Well, it's because they glamorize that overnight success.
Yeah, well, and we've talked about that.
It takes no overnight success.
No, it takes, 5, 10, 15, and if you become an overnight success after 5 years, you're a lucky SOB. Because most of them, it's 10, 15, 20 years before you become that quote unquote overnight success. And people don't know the backstory. They don't know the sacrifices and the pain. And I'm not trying to ask for sympathy. I'm just saying the real story and putting that real story out there. And don't get me wrong, I want to be honest about this. Had I known the real story, I might never have been an entrepreneur. I might.
You never would have had me in your life.
You're right. That's
Or us either.
Yeah, no, all of you. And the thing is
well,
all
you were from Kokomo.
No,
so
but no. I still would have never.
He knew you
because
longer.
because she was out selling advertising while I was walking into a plant to push a button 2,000 times a day. But it was a cush job. I put my time in because I had no problem working for me, being responsible for me, and earning a paycheck for me. And it's a brutal world because all three of you enrich my life. But I can say that now.
That's the first compliment I've gotten in a long time.
Oh my God.
I had to put that out
I think
there.
that was the first compliment I've ever got.
The bougie blonde. I can't. You got all of you. Trish, damn it. Help me.
I need a raise.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then we'll talk.
Oh my God. The point being, there was, and I mean, and that thing is, I mean, I have a whole lot of information that I can't wait to put out there that I would have never even been able to think about putting out there had I not went through what I went through the last 17 years. But the point being, had I known that this was what I was taking on, I'm like, likelihood is I'd have been like, no, I'll stay at Chrysler and just push my button. Because the thing is I'm sitting there going, I've like given up 15 years of my life, and gotten like nothing in the, it's all been about delayed gratification. And in my 17 years, I have seen so many other people throw their name in the hat, and some of them I'm like, man, I wish you all the best of luck because I know what you're getting into and I want to see you succeed because I want to see everybody succeed. Some of them, I know them enough to know they do not have a snowball's chance in hell, and I'm shaking my head going, God, how many people are you going to cause pain as your ship goes down? Because I know you don't have what it takes to do this. And this is that, like, again, in order to build something that is going to survive and be a legitimate business, you have to build a legitimate team. To build a legitimate team, you have to be able to take on massive responsibility. You have to understand the psychology of all of the teammates that come to the table that are supposed to be working as a team. You have to be able to understand what you're doing, to be able to break down, write, and implement all of your systems. You are steering a legitimate ship. You have got to keep everybody inside the rails forever in order for the business to continue to survive, thrive, and grow. I mean, it's not easy, and I just thought that headline, right, it kind of hit home because the dude that said that, I mean, like, that dude's a serial entrepreneur. He started up many and has gotten very good at starting up and selling, but he battles his own internal demons because he understands the pressure. It's also about, I mean, he's built the way he's built, and that's where I'm saying that likelihood is I'm built the way I'm built. You could have told me that I was getting into this, and I know my drive and I know my stubbornness, and I still probably would have done it anyway. But I look back and it's like, it was never a big sacrifice. It was the thousands of small sacrifices that lead up to looking back and looking at that big sacrifice. And some of that stuff I'm not real proud of because, like my uncle, this dude is just the best father figure that I have ever known. And I look at it and I'm like, I could have been that type of father, but I didn't. I chose entrepreneurship, and then it put me in a position of, well, if I don't work on the business, I'm not going to be able to put food on the table. But because I was working on the business, it took time away from being at the table, and people just are under this impression by what they see on social media that it's just all going to come easy and they're going to be able to have their cake and eat it too. And that is not reality right there. You don't get your cake and eat it too. You're sacrificing something. And sometimes once you've already made those commitments and you're already neck deep, you're sacrificing things in the moment because you don't have a choice. But if you were able to step outside of it, no way that you would have been willing to make that sacrifice if you could have seen from the outside looking in. But when you find yourself in the middle of it and you know you're about to drown, you know what sacrifice you're going to make, but you, under any other circumstances, you never would have made that sacrifice. And that's, entrepreneurship is, it's hard. I mean, it's hard. And yeah, I'll get off my soapbox.
Let's go back to us being a great team.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
I think more compliments.
That's true. So you want your ego stroked. I mean, I'm
Can
like,
you please. I mean, I'm
Is it just your ego you want stroked?
well, geez,
jeez,
maybe not. But
she's the
we don't need to talk
conservative here.
about it.
You'll get her running. Okay, that concludes our off the rails. If you had to have laughed at some point, so share the show. Definitely write us a review. Definitely thanks for listening, and until next time, we'll see you later.